Right, okay, so we haven't actually given an update on the war planning for a bit, so let's do that on a Sunday. So the current position is our great leader. This is obviously Dad, this is not the great leader, but this is the badge represents the person at the top, has quite cleverly said, well, at the moment, if a general was called tomorrow, if we look at the chaos that's been causing by non-serious groups of people trying to resolve situations like this, saying, well, we can't resolve it, we're going to surrender, then saying, well, give us power anyway. So that's obviously the current gambit from our main opponents politically. I'm just obviously have an advantage because they haven't actually bothered to, or maybe they have, but they haven't engaged properly over the current situation in Birmingham, so we still have the oversight. So just as a reminder, last year the sniper shot the managing director in the head, so we caught her doing the theatre performance in Birmingham. John Cotton has now officially gone, it appears, so his email bounced back, so his throat has been cut. No idea what happened to his managing director, but Nikki Brennan is currently running Birmingham Labour, and in my case, importantly, quote unquote, the housing. So she wants to take over Birmingham's patronage network. But of course, the squigs in the background as the equity-seeking employees and gangs are chasing after Birmingham Labour to get their loot. And of course, in the background, what they didn't understand, the war bosses and gene stealers from Green Lane are coming up behind them because we have no security. But since her head has been shot off and Dad's corpse is now reanimated and lurching around with a huge gun blowing people's heads off, they're all running for the hills. So West Midlands Police capitulated. Edinburgh Police are grossly incompetent and dishonest. So we've got no police assistance. We should be clearing this up. There's lots of serious organised crime. In the bunker, we've predictably got our guys being assailed by morons. Occasionally someone breaks out of the bunker and does something. We've got Marlon and Tom sort of walking around Piccadilly Gardens, filming the chaos. They're getting a tiny vote share. And up in Edinburgh, again, we're sort of dug in like termites, totally safe. But you've got all these sort of various criminals trying to sort of float around. And the current situation is they're sending what is effectively sort of a brain bot at me, a fake bureaucrat to try and deal with me. But the fake bureaucrat has paid me, so it doesn't actually work that well. So they're sort of hiding in their offices, shrieking, as we're saying every day. You know, we are quite serious. We try to report serious organised crime under Birmingham serious misconduct policy. You can't refuse, sorry, but because the evidence chain is now so robust, and professional colleagues in enforcement and defence are starting to look at it, we can get things moving quite quickly. So the evenings has been spent around the tattoo in Edinburgh. So if you think the pipes are friendly normally, it's going to be very friendly around Edinburgh Castle. The American Army, of course, have got various guys wandering around that place. It's quite well defended, and of course the position remains if Cotton, Roney, or the sort of low-level sort of thuggish bureaucrats like a Gentieri, I say hypothetically you'd even put up with Southall, getting them north to St Giles and making them behave honestly, because at the moment, you know, again, you're a court officer, you think through the court process. My job is to attack you. So what the city is effectively saying is that if we attack you, there's a legitimate chance that, A, this is your own fault, and B, there's a legitimate chance that you can resolve your own problems. In many cases, perhaps that we can do that. I mean, there are a lot of cases I can just sort of bung through now, there'll be no problem. But if you think about the chain of influences out, we can't sort of run things in these circumstances. And with the level of violence, I mean, you know, if you're not safe in my own home and we're not safe in buildings, again, your old and grizzled compliance people are not going to defer to these silly little women playing with laptops in a job they don't understand. We deal with very, very violent, often very large, very aggressive adult men who will attack people rather than comply with the law. If people in the white collar sense are not complying, your compliance staff will behave as they should, which is saying no. And that goes to, again, Joanne Roney and her behaviour. So we'll get this sent up then to the web servers tomorrow before we send the next one off. But what they're not getting is we can do this daily for the rest of my life. So they have no recourse. As previous recordings have indicated, we've got an inway into the British legal profession from tomorrow. Okay, it's only probate, but we've got an actual professional waking up and doing something. We've got someone doing their job rather than refusing to do a referral from the old man's law firm. Again, in their case, for the record, so if they pick this kind of stuff up, I did want a referral if it came down to it. There's other names in the profession who could have helped to get things moving. And of course, what happened, because we got no help, was various people attacking me from November till Feb. So, Scottish winter in the cold, because various idiots refused to comply or just didn't give a monkeys. Now we're fully dug in though, and events taking their course. It is now a global sport. If you can find some of these people, again, stick a camera in their face, just find them so we can get some back and forth and ask them why their court officers are having to get out of the city for safety, and of course the knock-on effect it's going to have on me and my family. Private prosecutions, I'm sure, will take place at some point in this sort of thing, but at the moment it's physically finding people. So you can go and find Cotton, Roney, these sort of people. In Birmingham University, looking for Gold Commander himself, Graham Betts and David Gilbourne. I'm sure there's various other names that we could think about in terms of locating. Chris Naylor, of course, Dawn Hewins, the various sort of HR leads over time. There's a whole laundry list of crooks that need to be rounded up. But going into Monday, being here gives you what it always does every week. You can actually have a rest away from the psychopathic imbecile south of the border up here. The Christian culture is still very strong. And going into Monday, as explained to one of my current associates, we're just going straight for them again. So the current tactics on our side of things are straightforwardly true. You can capitulate to enemies if you'd like to. So there's one there at the bottom on his pile of skulls. But of course, Farage is going to capitulate to the other one as well. And given the state of Birmingham, the hour is just too late. If you read history, and the current Islamic invasion of Europe has to be pushed back. So if the order is surrender, we're not following. Sorry. So for the benefit of paying £2,500, you can laugh at me if you wish, but if there is a chance to save the country, because of the history, if you can cut the king's head off, this is not a joke. I mean, it does sort of change history in a pretty profound way. And if we could convince friends and allies that would be a solution, it's something that we can, and I'm sure will follow through. But of course, we can start with people like Rudy Cabana and the various murderers who've been taking the lives of our children. There is no reason to keep someone like that alive. And once the draw is into a blender, rather than it being a blender, perhaps some of these migration flows may ebb, and Britain may be a less appealing destination. But anyway, we're still committed to this particular project going on. The rubbish, of course, are done, so they're just in a fire pit at the moment. I've got to actually paint these guys on Sunday. I keep forgetting. We've got to give this guy his flamethrower so he can just roast them all. But we've got to have an audit into Birmingham. We can't have this sort of thing carry on. And I don't think Graham Betts, to be fair to the guy, can do it on his own. It's going to need somebody else. But they were so stupid and arrogant, they totally underestimated us and what we were capable of doing, so they've got themselves into this mess. So to round this off then, so from tomorrow, I think finally, end of November till now, we're finally getting back from the bottom of Maslow's hierarchy of needs, back to what I would have considered to be actual civilization in the 80s and 90s sense. Yes, and thanks to my Nottingham colleague for reminding me of Prussian dolls as well. It is generally helpful to have props when you're explaining concepts to people. So again, this may look silly to you, but explaining the dynamics as to what's currently happening in the city is quite complicated, and also quite serious because it's going to need a military response at some point. But it's totally fine. The British have got it. We do have this stuff in our homes casually because we have inherited the various traditions that made Europe such a powerhouse, and we have a responsibility to carry it on. And of course, as you speak to various men and women across the country, you realise they're all getting prepared, and we're not backing down. So looking forward to Monday. We'll speak to various people to get things moving. I'm not going to spend my time on people who don't deserve it, but we're all ready for the fight ahead.